This is The Conservative Edge. I'm Dr. Joe Corey. This show will give you an edge on the truth. It's about substance on each and every issue. Today's issue is Socialism Unmasked. Well, the issue of socialism is rather complex. Why? Because there has been a history since 1917 till now. It has gone through tremendous upheaval and succeeded in some countries, failed in others. The subject of socialism is rather complicated. I address it here through its foundations and implications in a simplified way, based on historical writings and facts. We don't deal with fake news here or fake history. I ask for your attention during the entire presentation for maximum benefit to you. I decided to review socialism with you instead of inviting a Bernie Sanders or an AOC, the start of politics these days, or their likes to spread their false economic gospel. I hope you are aware of the new wave in our country. Our colleges and universities are producing anti-capitalist intent on undermining American capitalism and replacing it with a social utopia that guarantees equality of adverse economic outcome for everyone. The politicians on the left are applauding as they welcome their new recruits. I am an American by choice. I spent my life largely in university settings, either as a student all the way to the doctorate in finance from the Wharton School, or as a professor, retiring as a full professor from the University of California. I've lectured on economic issues in 45 countries and debated numerous socialists. Let me tell you why I am disclosing this. I came to America with nothing but dreams. I fulfilled practically all of them, and I cannot imagine any country where I could have done this. This is indeed the land of opportunity for anyone who wants to play by the rules and work hard with clear objectives in mind. I am indebted to this country, and it pains me a great deal that some people want to put our Constitution, our system, upside down. The concentration of power in the hands of government has not historically produced the greater good. Germany's socialists, the Nazis, Russian socialists, and Chinese socialists are responsible for the death of 118 million people in the 20th century, mostly their own citizens. The unbridled socialism they advocated has not worked. It cannot, no matter the modifications. Many countries have abandoned the socialist model, as must Venezuela, in order for recovery to occur. The control over the levers of power in all nations has been contested throughout history. Socialism is about political and economic power. America, by contrast, still operates as a capitalist economy with the necessary regulations to deal with the excesses of capitalism, yes, there are some of them, and an imperfect welfare system intended to help those who cannot help themselves. This is so despite the historic wave of socialism largely imported by German immigrants into the United States in the late 1800s, and the current wave of newly packaged socialist idea, the latest of which is the Green New Deal. In the United States, the power by the construct and the practice of our Constitution is that of the people. Recent proponents of socialism want to shift it to the government or workers' council, controlling the means of production and the distribution of their outcomes. The people must have the ultimate power in deciding on the power shift. Government, predictably in the United States, has power arrived at by the consent of the governed. Even the father of free markets, Adam Smith, acknowledged that government be responsible for national security, the police force, education, and the administration of justice. Government can decide to acquire more political powers in the economic and social domain. And that is inevitable in socialism, as it is about government making decisions on production, distribution, and employment. Allow me to show you an inflated balloon. Consider that the air in this balloon represents the totality of economic and political power in a country. To get more power, government must squeeze the balloon in its favor. like this. This could be done through democratic processes or through coercion. We witnessed the latter throughout Latin America and many European countries and Asian countries. But no matter the method of achieving control, election or brute force, we end up with socialism, where government is in control of our lives. Chavez and Maduro realized their socialist dream, I must note, through the ballot box. Do not let those who are proclaiming themselves in favor of democratic socialism fool you. They may be more socialist than all others, and the consequences of the system they advocate may well be more adverse. Socialism is the government having its hand deep in your pockets, all of your pockets, with a friendly smile at your face, while whispering in your ears rosy promises that are mostly false and or have unacceptable outcome. Let us consider some of them, and you will understand why socialism is about control, not really about outcomes. Let's take up education. $900 billion are spent on education. Our international ranking is 17. 17 in the world. The South Koreans and the Finns are beating the pants out of us. The results are treacherous. Dropout rate in the United States is about 25%, even higher in certain states. Guess what they are in South Korea? 3%. 3. And the Koreans are in the top scale in almost everything, especially science and mathematics. Numerous high school graduates in the United States cannot read at the 8th grade level. The situation in certain minority districts is even worse. We cannot allow the education department to keep their monopolies on education. With these results, they lost custody, so to speak, of our educational system. And guess what? They're doing everything they can to fight any alternative system of education. They fought vouchers. School vouchers were fought very vigorously, and I participated in that debate in California. Charter schools are being fought. We just saw the latest election in Los Angeles here, where the person advocating, extremely qualified person who advocated charter school, was beaten. They want no competition. They want control over a huge budget, and they want to tell us what is best for the students in the classroom. An example of that is Common Core, we spend literally millions of dollars developing it, and many people have doubts about its consequence. The next issue is healthcare. You've been hearing that all of these candidates for the Democratic Party who want to be president, and they want to literally take our healthcare structure right now, rip it from its roots, and substitute everything that we do with a Medicare for all. The interesting thing about that is that nobody asked the seniors who are on Medicare and who have paid for it if they want all of the other people to come and join them. Now, let me give you some facts. 180 million Americans get their health care from their employers. Do they want to be on Medicare? Of course not. 44 million Americans are on Medicare. 18.2 million Americans are on the VA. They are veterans, and thank God for them because they're protecting our freedom. 70 million Americans are Medicaid. They are on Medicaid. Putting everyone on Medicare will mean long lines for service, less care for the seniors, abortion on demand regardless of trimester, euthanasia, and death panels. We've had this discussion about death panel. You know, you're too old to have a heart surgery, so go home and die. Or they give you some placebo in order to deal with that. The bottom line here is there is no way the quality of the service for all Americans to increase under the proposed system. Socialism will introduce massive regulation in the United States economy based on, of course, wonderful things that sound so great. One of them is, of course, the environment, and the second one is workers' rights. They will increase your taxes. They're already complaining about the fact that all the tax cuts that President Trump has done went to the rich. They will double the minimum wage, no matter what it does to employment. As you know, many people are going right now, they're putting robots in restaurants to serve you a hamburger. No matter the underlying productivity data, they will double the minimum wage. They will have a massive infrastructure program, not because they care so much about infrastructure, but because they want to create an employment program for people who wish to work. Those who do not want to work will simply take advantage of the generosity of the new expanded welfare system. Welfare recipients will not have to work, and they could stay on welfare for as long as they wish. How great is that? Bullet trains will be running across all states. The problem is they haven't learned anything from California. Bullet trains are extremely expensive, and they are uneconomical compared to airplanes flying over with no government subsidy to any of the overwhelming majority of travelers, and there is no infrastructure necessary, maybe except for expanded airports. There is no way the train system, the bullet train system, will even work in California. It hasn't, and it will not. They're already cutting it back. They will propose more poverty programs. Those poverty programs will be programs that expand the current poverty programs. We have about 80 of them. They cost about $1 trillion between the state and the federal government. And guess what? Their objective is not really to eliminate poverty in America, but to perpetrate poverty in America. And that is scandalous. And last and certainly not least, energy. They will regulate energy in every way. How it is produced, where it is produced, how it is shipped across state lines, whether it should be exported or not. All of these things will be proposed and enacted. And energy independence be damned. America today is producing more energy than any other country, and we have great reserves, and we have used the best technology possible to extract more oil. Yes, we are in favor of electric cars, but it doesn't mean we should abandon everything we have, and very quickly. Of course, other proposals relating to education, preschool. Now they're advocating preschools for everybody. And then childcare. Well, childcare is important, especially for working moms. But childcare for everyone is not the answer. Now, labor unions. Teachers' unions will empower administrators to decide on the level of mediocrity in the school system, so long as their interests are protected after all. These unions exist for the purpose of raising the salaries and the benefits of the teachers, independent of the outcome. As one labor leader proclaimed recently, the welfare of students is secondary of that. The bottom line is those promoting the Green New Deal want a single-payer system controlled by bureaucrats. They want full control. And ACA, the Affordable Care Act, was the first step toward it. All kinds of programs, expensive programs, life-changing programs will be proposed to deal with the environmental issues. We already have huge environmental spending. But what they do not know, and they do not want to tell you, that most of the polluters in the world right now are socialist countries. Russia, China, and many others. And if they had traveled through East Germany, as I did, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, what you would have found is incredible environmental degradation. It took billions of dollars, billions of euros for the German, after the unification of Germany, to put this Humpty Dumpty together. Today, Germany is very aware of its past environmental shortages and working very hard on environmental issues. But it is not always all about the environment. We people are part of the environment, and we deserve to understand the trade-offs that these people are proposing. After all of their programs are put together, some people decided to figure out how much is all of this going to cost. It is just incredible. How much is it going to cost the country, the United States of America? It turns out that it's going to cost $90 trillion. How are you going to pay for this? What they are saying is, we're going to tax the rich. We're going to tax you when you are alive, and we're going to tax you when you die. Estate taxes are coming back big time. So they all give you the big picture, all the rosy stuff, but they never talk to you about the awesome taxes that will really change your lifestyle. Socialism, viewed in a different context, is literally robbing Peter to pay Paul. And this is justified because we are told that Peter's wealth must be ill-acquired. And therefore, to make everything fair, we have to tax him more. And we have to expose the immorality of his greed. Now, how about Paul? If you are Paul and you are poor, it must be because your status is based on victimization caused by Peter, on inequality of opportunities, on xenophobia, corporate greed, sexism, and of course, the ever-present racism. We will use Peter's hard-earned money to promote this nonsense across the landscape without really correcting your situation. Now a word to Paul. Paul, you are not poor or disadvantaged because your neighbor is rich and successful. This is not a zero-sum game, Paul. You see, millions of Americans are hard at work daily, baking a larger economic pie, so one day you will be able to get any job you seek at a good salary. Steve Jobs, Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and countless others started companies from a garage or an apartment with little capital. They understood the value of entrepreneurship and mastered how free markets work. They did not conspire against you, Paul, to become super rich. You and billion others made them rich. I am sure that even in your state of dejection, Paul, likely induced by leftist propaganda, you are still using Windows, Facebook, iPhone, and ordering all kinds of products and services through Amazon. So what does the left want to do now is convince you that the road to your success and redemption is through breaking those companies up and imposing much higher taxes. They want to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. Who made these people rich? You did, Paul, by buying their services. And billions of others did exactly the same thing. Now, this is on the side of the federal government. Don't forget, states and cities and counties and you name it will take their turn at abusing you and taking part of your hard-earned money. By the way, defending these companies, as I just had, does not hold them harmless for mistakes committed and possible improper conduct. In the final analysis, people like Peter will get tired of what's happening to them. In fact, in 2015, over 3,700 Americans decided to drop their citizenship. Millions are seeking U.S. citizenship, and these people dropped it. You know why? Because of taxes. That's why. They've had enough. The right answer for this twisted situation is for someone to tell Paul, get off your butt and get a job. Stop claiming that drug addiction is a permanent disability. Figure out what Peter is doing. Maybe you could do the same thing. Earn some money and pay your share of taxes. Is this socialism, you ask? It sure is. America is already moving in this direction. But free Americans like you and me are saying enough is enough. Democrats want us to believe that taking money from hard-working Americans is efficient and moral. They assume that government bureaucrats are better at resource allocation than those who generated the resources. As a consequence, they contend income inequality will be reduced or eliminated, and everyone will get their fair share from the economic pie. The level of happiness in society will rise, and corporate greed will be curtailed. Of course, none of this has occurred. It is a pipe dream. In fact, income inequality rose under their favorite president, President Obama. In all the cases above, power of government over our daily lives rises, while the people's power shrinks. Remember the balloon. If we sit idle and watch, that is the intent of socialism. I ask you now to do this exercise. It's very important. I really hope you'll do it. Look in your household to see if you could find a single item marked Made in Russia. Then review economic history for dramatic non-military innovation produced by socialist, communist economies. You'll be hard-pressed. Yes, you could find numerous Chinese products, some quite high-tech. However, they were produced in a system referred to as controlled capitalism, with limited competition, suppressed wages, minimum health care, minimum workers' rights, often stolen technology, sold under a rigged currency value, yielding environmental degradation, and protected by high tariff barriers. All accomplished within a state void of faith or a recognized value system, without an independent judiciary, and obsessed by control. And God help us what they're doing to minorities in China. America, by contrast, has conquered the economic universe with incredible inventions and innovation that touch the lives of people all over the world, produced in a labor-friendly environment and sold largely in truly competitive manner, within the rule of law. Democrat socialists invented a new moniker, we must know, to refer to themselves as progressives, a mask for socialists and even communists going back to the days of Lenin. Leaving you to wonder, what is progressive about massive national debt to be spent on programs that are demonstrably failing? About sanctuary cities? About allowing criminals from foreign countries to roam our streets? About spending $140 billion a year on all types of benefits for illegals? Did you vote for that? About abolishing ICE, people who protect us, they want to abolish them. About paying individuals to be idle. About overtaxing the rich while the top 20% of income earners already pay 90% of all the taxes that support all of us. About heaping insult on the president and the presidency and preoccupying congressional committees with investigations instead of legislations. About anti-poverty programs that keep recipients in poverty. About undermining individual initiative and aspiration. And the list goes on. America, do not be fooled. Do not be fooled. We Americans must keep our eyes on the government and not be dependent on it. Keep in mind what socialism has produced in North Korea, China, Vietnam, and most recently in Venezuela, and the list goes on. Do you really want to copy their economic, political model, having lived the American dream and having been blessed by the generosity of its outcomes? I'm sure the answer is no. Let us make this mistake. Let us defeat the extreme left and even the left, so that our countries and our constitution, our country and our constitution are protected. This is The Conservative Edge. I'm Dr. Joe Coury. Thank you for listening.